G.I. Joe was a movie, a cartoon, and all around one of the greatest, if not the greatest, toy franchises of all time. Back in the day, they were real hard to beat because of the playability with their vehicles, with their play sets, with their characters, with the cartoon that went with it. Now, one things that we did miss is cartoon accuracy. Back then, we did not have cartoon accuracy. We've got cartoon accuracy now in modern day, which is awesome. Super 7's ReAction Plus, G.I. Joe, Duke, First Sergeant, Serpentor, the Cobra Emperor. These two have a pretty big history, and it goes all the way back to the G.I. Joe movie. So, fast forward, rewind, whichever one you want to do, and you go back to where two robots are fighting, and Megatron kills Optimus Prime, which is, whoo, it's a big deal. Still haunts me to this day. Now you've got these two, which is essentially Megatron and Optimus Prime going at it, and this guy kills this guy. But whoa, 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 that's not where it ends. Because they saw the backlash of what happened with Optimus Prime, this guy just miraculously comes through with the, medical just gloriousness of getting him out there. So, these two, when you think of arch nemesis or just rivals in the 80s cartoon franchises, these two really don't come up. You would think him and maybe this guy whoops, I dropped it. You would think of maybe Duke and this guy right here, but these two had just as big of a rivalry as Cobra Commander did. Cobra Commander was just the dumb leader of the organization. This guy actually got his hands dirty and did some stuff. Packaging on these guys, let's take a look at both of them. Just got them in the mail the other day. I'm excited to have both of them. Duke in cartoon accurate clothing and hairstyle and face mold. We'll get to that. The box, that old style drawing, which is fantastic. Never knew he was a first sergeant. I would have thought he was a commander or something like that. As we go in for Duke here, Conrad Hauser is his real name, military special airborne infantryman. Duke was fluent in French, German, and English when he enlisted. He graduated top of his class at airborne school. After running 4 different special forces schools, he turned down a commission to serve as acting first sergeant of G.I. Joe. The man's a walking legend. He's got more combat experience than some of the generals in the Pentagon. Duke's the kind of grunt you want to have right by your side when your going gets tough. Yeah, he's a good one. One thing we will take a look at that. We've got all of these so far. I don't have the comic book one yet. Yes, I do. I do have the comic book. I don't have the Bat comic book one. And then if you'll notice, Fatal Fluffy and Raymar on here. I just ordered or pre-ordered those. Can't wait to take a look into that. This is fantastic. I do love the fact that I don't remember what G.I. Joes were back in the day, but they definitely were not 14 plus. As we crack this open, it's essentially a vintage G.I. Joe. We're going to try to maintain it as best we can because I do like the card art on that. Last time I popped one of these out, an arm flew off. Zaymont had a bad time, so let's try that. This is my one. They are in there so flipping tight that, all right, nothing damaging happened to that. Let's take this off here, and that comes down, and then his rifle, which is pretty typical of his rifle, and he was very known for having that rifle right there. What is this thing? Is this the Mind? I think this is from a cartoon of it to where you put that on and Duke, it was a mind control device, I believe. That's a pretty neat add to it. I sadly will never have it on there. Articulation, it's an O-ring G.I. Joe. It bends at the elbows, everything else. But let's take a look at the detail because this really isn't being made to replace your vintage Duke. This is to add to a cartoon accurate. I think it looks perfect as a cartoon accurate. I love the color. It's not perfect of Army. It has that kind of pop of the 80s and the 90s cartoon. Got his airborne, got his satchel around him. That's Duke right there, and that looks really, really good. I'm really ecstatic about it. Duke gets a lot of hate. I liked Duke as a kid. Also liked Optimus Prime, and there's hate for that. So the gun does go in just kind of typical fashion of G.I. Joe. Pew, 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 laser beams and whatnot. I do like the fact that they threw this back. I'm almost certain that is the mind brain box thing that had. Now, big stand for me. Can he? He can. He stands on his own, which is nice. Fantastic figure. I think he's going to look great on the shelf. Must have for any cartoon. I don't know exactly the number he was in, but by golly, he was sure in a lot of them, if you know what I mean. Let's take it over to Serpentor, number 2 here. Cobra Enemy, looking good on the packaging. I really like this stance. I love the dagger that's there. For those of you that don't know or maybe haven't watched these snakes, you could take them out and throw them. What a cool accessory that would have been if there was a staff snake to kind of go into his chest, but that's probably asking for a little bit too much. As we look at the collect them alls, I'm still down a bat. I've got it pre-ordered from Big Bad Toy Store. I just haven't got it yet, but ReMar and Fatal Fluffies are there. His birthplace was Cobra Island. It doesn't have a lot of details on this, but he does come in as his eyes have seen the legions of Rome trample the goals of the Vervo into dust. His hand lifted the horsehair baton that singled the first charge. I mean, if anybody doesn't know what all this historical stuff is, so Cobra Commander, Destro, and Dr. Mindbender kind of went and took all the baddies of the world and then, made a potion, and really Serpentor came. His quote is, "I am the one born to rule and destine and conquer. Let those who fear me follow me. Let those who oppose me perish. For I am Serpentor, and this I command." Again, this is a 14 and over toy. I beat that, so we're good. All right, let's go ahead and get Serpentor locked out of this. Serpentor coming with the gel. Duke not getting gel. All right, let's first of all get this knife out that is held in by tape for some ungodly known reason, even though it's in there quite well. Let's lay that down. All right, don't break. And we did it. Ooh, an arm bent a little bit backwards. All right, so first things first with this is I love the fact, does this not come off? Oh, it does come off. Okay, so I thought that was going to be on there, which is okay. The vintage one for me, it fell off all the time, but this one isn't going to get played with half as hard as that vintage one. So in looking at it, he does have the snakes. If you wiggle that, you can take it off. I refuse to take it off because it looks like it's going to be a bear to get this cape back on. It does have a little soft goods cape there. Does have a cool wristband. This one you can tell is more snake-like. Does have the fangs, just like in the cartoon and in the vintage toy. Got the scales going up from the midsection up to the head, which is the snake head, which is very cool. The bottom is all scaled out, very nicely scaled out. The arms do not have scales, which is a little bit of a letdown, a little bit weird. But the coloring is fantastic. It does remind me of a nice updated cartoon version from the figure. I guess he was a 90s character. No, he was an 80s. He was 80s. Plus the add-on of a cartoon look. Does come with his dagger. One thing that will be interesting to see is because Serpentor came with his chariot in vintage toys. Wonder if we'll ever get a Serpentor chariot or not. That would be a cool thing. I am looking forward to getting more of these. And the fact that they have the twins, Xamot and Tomax, they came out in business suits. They've got comic versions of these, which I get because you've got to use the mold as much as humanly possible. But to get a Fatal Fluffy, that is fantastic. I hope we get a little... the accessories for that's going to be exciting, because if we can get it to go small to big, that would be great. ReMar also one that's going to be very, very exciting to take a look at. So hopefully they'll come in together and we can take a look at them. But this is G.I. Joe ReAction Plus, the cartoon edition. We've got Duke, and we have Serpentor, and they are in fantastic shape. I love everything about them. Hit that subscribe button if you like seeing these toy reviews. I know there's a ton of great toy reviewers out there. There's a lot better than I do. I appreciate it. We have finally hit that 1,000 subscribers, so we're trying to keep it above that and just keep the channel moving and keep it going on. And every little like and every little watch and everything you all do helps out a tremendous amount, and we appreciate it. So until the next G.I. Joe or next toy review, we say peace out. This I command. Peace out, home skillets.